there's so much we can talk about. One thing I do want to know is were you ever a card carrying member of the Kiss Army?
Was I ever?
Yeah.
I still am.
I guess that doesn't go away.
My dues may not be paid up, but I definitely had that card in my wallet. It was right next to my IWW red card. So it was, which really you get sort of the full picture of the Tom Morello / Night Watchman perspective.
I think we're learning so much about you, more than you probably wanted to share. I'm curious because it seems that anybody who was in the Kiss Army then had at least one Halloween, at least one in which they dressed as a member of Kiss. Did you?
That I didn't. But I guess I was also an Alice Cooper fan, and so that come Halloween that sort of trumped my. I had like the snake and all that, so that was my outfit.
Well, do you remember the first?
Are there any other confessions? It's
Wait,
you're like my priest. Is there anything else that I?
You dressed as Alice Cooper as a kid.
Sure.
So you had the snake, you had the makeup, and did you have a guillotine that you walked around with?
No, I had like the top hat. I didn't bring a guillotine. I was on a budget.
It is hard to tote a guillotine too.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. So do you remember the first punk rock show that you went to?
Yes, quite clearly. It was a band called The Clash, and perhaps you've heard of them.
No.
And it was a life-changing experience. I don't remember that the music. The thing that was most life-changing about it was the first non-heavy metal concert I had gone to, and I was I had the record London Calling and Give 'Em Enough Rope, and it was the first band that I discovered that rocked as hard as I needed my rock to be, but I could relate to the lyrics.
Yes.
I was a fan of Kiss, but I couldn't, the
Love Gun.
I didn't, it wasn't until many years later that I would be able to brandish a love gun, and so it was, I really couldn't relate to I didn't have a mansion on a Scottish loch, and I didn't have a limo full of groupies, but I could relate to this career opportunities, and I could relate to the Clash thing. So I went to the show at the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago, and the first thing that began to change my my North Star of how my music would be guided was the T-shirt in the lobby. And I had a healthy collection of heavy metal T-shirts, and they all were filled with wizards and dragons and whatnot.
Naturally.
And this shirt only had a few words written over the heart. It said, "The future is unwritten." And I was like, uh-oh, I'm on to something. Here. Something's going on in this room tonight. But then what sealed the deal was I played in a noisy punk rock band that practiced in my mom's basement, and I had a crummy little amplifier. Joe Strummer had, in my mom's basement, that amplifier was on a chair. At the Clash show at the Aragon Ballroom, Joe Strummer had exactly the same crummy amplifier that I had, and it was on a chair on stage. And I thought, not only can I do this one day, I'm doing it right now. And there's... this is, and then I was just sold. I'm like, well, rock's for me. I
got to tell you, because I too, I think the Clash are a band that opened so many people's eyes, hearts, and brains, and honestly, I think sometimes too that because now of course I'm not like a huge vinyl purist at all, but my only point is just that the image of some of those record covers, like the very first Clash record, just the three of them standing there in that alley, it just is burned into your brain. Or Simon smashing the bass on London Calling, and it's when I got to meet Mick Jones in his last incarnation of Carbon Silicon, but I felt it was almost surreal to me that he's doing what he's doing, that he still seems so joyful to be playing, and I'm just regret and could just really just I never got to ever meet or see Joe Strummer.
It is a darn, how is it that Dick Cheney's alive and Joe Strummer's dead? If you want an argument against some sort of higher power, that might be evidence enough right there. But I did have probably the most. I've had a couple of peaks of nervousness and excitement. Well, I got to induct the Clash into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Tom,
and that was a pretty exciting evening there.
What were you okay? Perhaps you're not even a guy that gets stage fright or nervous. But
I was.
Did you want to vomit? That could not.
I've never been more terrified in my entire life.
I'm scared for you.
Yeah. I had a teleprompter. Don't worry. But I worked on that. I rewrote the speech probably 80 times.
I bet you did.
It was pretty good.
Did you get to hear then from them after?
We got to hang out. I mean, Joe had passed already, but I had the chance to meet him before. But we got to kind of hang out, and it was just so as trippy as it was a trip to Trip Town. It was just incredible. It was a one-way trip to Trip Town.
Love gun my eye. Oh,
yeah. I've hung out with Gene as well, and it was a different experience.
Quite a different. Have you smelled his perfume?
No, Gene's all right, but he's I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhat, it's demystified when you sort of see him
That's what I'm talking
in action.
about.
You see him up in the club.
That's what I'm thinking.
A whole other thing.
One more quick question
Yeah.
before you play another song. What's the first job in which you got your SAG card? Do you remember?
I believe it was the Bristol Renaissance Fair.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that I had to do something for either something TV like for that, and had to SAG up. But then I've been in a number of to just further soak my geek resume. For those of you that
Card carrying Kiss member.
yeah, I've been in a
Guild.
couple. I was in a couple of Star Trek TV shows and one of the movies. So.
You absolutely were. And again, had you prior to that had you been like a Star Trek dude?
Yeah. Oh, I hate to. Let's not even get on that
No,
topic.
I mean,
hell yeah.
With the assumption then that this was like the coolest gig for you in the world.
Oh, I was in the movie Insurrection where I had to spend 5 hours getting makeup put on every day, and everybody else who's getting 5 hours putting makeup on is like, they're like, bummed out
Yeah,
because
of course.
they're not, their pilot didn't go through, and for me it's the greatest 5 hours of my life. I'm there at 4 in the morning. Yes, sir, ready to go. Put that big forehead on me.
Your I'm astonished.
Yeah,
honestly,
just kicking it with Patrick Stewart. We were talking anarcho syndicalism backstage with Patrick Stewart. And interesting.